I, the pure consciousness, I, the pure consciousness, or the sense of self-awareness would manifest the words of truth and would manifest the words of wisdom. I, the pure consciousness, or the sense of self-awareness, would manifest the words of truth and would manifest the words of wisdom. Blessings to be on my listener, the one who herself or himself is reaching out to me and seeking for the truth and seeking for the liberation, um, and asking me questions that I always encourage you to ask me questions. Asking questions and making inquiries, it indicates that you have a quest to find the truth. You have a quest and concern of your well-being. You see, you have a quest to find out the truth. You have a quest of your own well-being. You have a quest to know the truth. That's why I always encourage you to ask me questions. And that's the reason I said the blessings to be on my listener, because blessings to be on my truth seeker, whether it's a herself or himself. It doesn't matter the gender, the color. I always try to remind you of that, so you remember the gender, the color, the family background, the heritage, the country, the culture, none of that matters, because in the end, everything would remain here when we progress after shedding the body. So it's abstract. We must concern to our ultimate truth. We must excuse me. We must be concerned with our ultimate truth. We must be concerned with our eternal growth, which is very important, which is the only thing which matters. So, as you can see, the caption, even occupying spiritually. Somebody asked and rather wrote me a detailed message during the week, and I was engaged into earn a living. You see, a few beings are controlling the dream of humanity, and they want us to be engaged. They want us to be engaged all the time with earning a living. That's because they know that if we are not engaged, if we are not stressed about earning a living, then we can look inwards and we can become concerned with our well-being, you see, and we can become, or we may become concerned to find out the truth, because by them engaging us by earning a living means they can dominate on the rest of the humanity. So all this I said because, of course, I am also still the part of this earth, and this earth is dominated by a few beings, you see, who control the entire dream and wealth of humanity. It's a very sad thing. It tells us that it's about time that we wake up. It's a very sad thing. It tells us that it's basically about time that we wake up and we look at ourselves and we see and ponder profoundly that what we are doing with this beautiful gift we have been giving. What are we doing with this beautiful gift that we have been given by the cosmos, which is this carnation, the time period between the knot of birth, remember the knot of birth and the knot of death. So it tells us basically. Anyway, I'm still the part of this globe, so I was earning a living. Anyway, like everybody's totally obsessed. They live basically to earn a living, and that's all they do. They waste the entire lifetime just to earn a living. And when our time is close and our time is up, then we freak out and the shock come, and then we don't know now what to do, basically. You see? Because that's the ultimate reality now we are going to face, and we say we need more time. But no, you had a plenty of time. We had plenty of time, but instead we had plenty of time, but instead, basically, we wasted in to earn a living, and all the time is gone. There is no more time for the spiritual growth till the next time we come back, you see. Anyway, so somebody asked me during the week that how to occupy yourself spiritually, because they think that is the best way to occupy yourself. This way you can be assured that you are growing spiritually, if you know what I mean. So they are asking, is there a practice? They are asking, is there a technique, a charm? They are asking that if there is a practice, they are asking if there is a technique, a charm, some type of mantra that I can give them for them to be occupied spiritually, because they are concerned with their spiritual growth. And it's a beautiful thing, you see. It's a beautiful thing they are concerned with their spiritual growth. It means that now they have become more interested to find out the truth in this very carnation, in this very life, you know. So that's a beautiful thing. So we are, as we always do, that we basically are going to look into profoundly and in detail that is there something or for us to occupy us spiritually. So, first of all, when we look at the question, what is the best way to occupy yourself spiritually, we must also look that, first of all, we must also look that why there is basically a why there is for us, or why there is a need for us to occupy ourselves all the time. That is rather um, a valid point, an interesting point that why there is a need for us to occupy with something all the time. You know what I mean? I am not right now, I am not going to look that what is the best way to occupy. I hope you are following me. Right now, I am not looking in that what is the best way to occupy spiritually. Right now, I am not looking in what is the best way to occupy spiritually. Right now, I am just looking that why there is a need for us to keep ourselves occupied at all times, if you understand what I mean. Is it just a habit that we have picked from other people? Is it is it just a habit that we have picked from other people? Is it just a habit that we have uh, picked from the society? Is it just a habit that we have seen everybody doing it, so we think it's normal or natural to keep yourself occupied at all times? You understand what I'm saying to you? Um, or we are going to challenge, or we are going to see that if it is natural, if it is in nature, if it is in nature for us to keep ourselves occupied all the time, or is it just a habit that we have picked from the society? Because everybody seems to be doing that, so we think it's normal or natural. You see, normal is overrated. Majority of the people, if they are doing something, that becomes a norm, that becomes normal. And that's how we are deviated, and that's how we are away from our growth, if you understand what I'm saying to you. Majority of the people are basically doing it, and um, nobody seems to question that why we have a need to keep ourselves occupied at all time, you see. And majority of the people think it's everybody seems to be doing it, so it's normal. Normal is overrated. If everybody seems to be doing it, it does not mean that we should be doing it too, you see. Everyone else has to live their life, we have to live ours. Not everybody is on the same scale or measurement of spiritual growth either, if you understand what I'm saying to you. So it's not necessary to keep yourself occupied all the time, including spiritually. You see, as a matter of fact, if you just sit silent every day and you do not occupy yourself with anything, with any object, everything, if you remember, as I say, please remember the word remember, if you understand what I'm saying. If you remember, as I mention always, that please remember the word remember. So remember something. If you sit every day and you manage your energy with the time, and you do not do anything, if you do not occupy yourself with the objects, if you do not occupy yourself with the objects around you, objects around you are there to hook your attention. You see, it's the challenge. Basically, while you are in the human form, so you can shed the karma. Everything, objects, people, thoughts, which you perceive internally, everything is out there to hook your attention. If your attention is hooked, you become occupied. When you become occupied, you cannot know the truth. If you do not occupy, however, yourself, because occupying yourself with objects, people, thoughts is not natural, okay? It's abstract. It's just a nasty habit that we basically have picked up. If you understand what I'm saying to you, is just a nasty habit. Occupying yourself is not natural at all. It's just a nasty habit that we have picked from everybody, you see. And the more we are occupied with the objects, with the thoughts, with the philosophies, with politics, with politicians, with people, with gossips, the more we are deviated from our purpose, which is the ultimate growth. However, if you do not occupy yourself, now I'm telling you to do exactly the opposite. And you manage, life is all about managing energy with time. If you do not occupy yourself with addictions and all the things that I just listed, then you grow spiritually, you see. And or even including occupying spiritually has no meanings, you see. If you just sit silent for some time and do not occupy yourself, you think that something would happen because you have become conditioned. If you understand what I'm saying to you, you think that something may just happen because you have become conditioned to do something and keep yourself occupied all the time. So, in the back of your mind, profoundly, there is something which tells you something may just happen if you do not do anything or if you are not occupied. Yes, something really good can happen. Something really miraculous can happen. You see, something really good can happen, something really miraculous can happen, which is that you can be enlightened, you see. Because once you are not occupied by the thoughts, by the objects, by the people, once your attention, once your attention is free, once you are not occupied by anything and your attention and your focus is free, then you basically are not in time. The thought, once you are occupied, the thought, the objects, the people, it's basically indicates time, which is a marker. However, if you have no thought in your mind, you are not boarding on any thoughts, if you are not preoccupied by thought, if you when if you are in the present moment and you are just perceiving the present moment, in other words, silently, you see, this is silent. Silently, you are managing your energy with time, even if it may seem like through the perspective or the point of view of your mind that nothing is happening, but a lot is happening. You right then and there are in touch with sacred or divine. Please remember something. Sacred, please remember this. Sacred or divine. Sacred or divine lies beyond the thought. If you ever want to understand your fundamental, if you ever want to understand your true nature, then you have to, which is nothing but divinity, which is nothing but sacred, then you cannot understand it if you are preoccupied, if you are perceiving thoughts non-stop about something which has happened or something which may happen in the future, then you are preoccupied. However, if you are not, then you get to you get to be in touch with sacred, you get to be in touch with divine, you get to be in touch with your fundamental form, you get to be in touch with your fundamental nature. Please remember that. So the answer to your question is, dear sir or madam, as I always mention, that gender is not important. So the answer to your question is, dear sir or madam, the best way to occupy, the best way to occupy yourself spiritually is not occupying at all. You see, the best way is not necessary to do something all the time. It's human conditioning. Is the part of the human conditioning that we all humans we go through with it. It's a nasty habit. It serves no purpose to keep yourself occupied. So the answer to your question is that the best way to occupy yourself spiritually is literally not to occupy yourself at all. When you do not occupy yourself at all, when you are not fascinated by the things around you, when you have no duality or friction in your mind, then you are naturally occupying yourself spiritually. Then it's only natural that you are occupying yourself spiritually. That's the best way. That you do not occupy yourself at all. It takes time. It takes it takes time. It takes practice. It takes dedication. But the great news is it is very possible. You see, this is a process of growth. There are no set parameters basically in this process of growth. It is a process of growth. It has no boundaries. You see, you are evolving, you are in the process, but there comes a time by the dedication to Kriya Yoga and meditation that you get to a point when you are not occupied. And once you are not occupied with the thoughts that what has happened in the past or what is going to happen or the objects around you or the people around you, once you are not fascinated by it, you are growing spiritually. Believe me, the silence, when you sit in the silence, that silence, not only the silence outside, if you are understanding what I'm saying, not only the silence outside, but the silence within. You see, if you are total silent, you see, not only the silence, silence outside, but the silence within, and you are growing spiritually. You would know so much that you would know just about anything that there is to know, only if you get to that point, only if you learn that. You see, the good news that I do it all the time. There is no perfection. One cannot say that yes is perfect, or I cannot say that of absolutely about myself. I cannot say that. But as I said, it's a process with no destination. You are always evolving. You are in the process of evolution. However, you would be in a rather more strong and more stable state than you were before if you dedicate yourself. There is always a chance of improvement, and you are improving all the time. It takes patience too. You do not get the instantaneous results. However, you would get the results. So learn not to occupy yourself at all with anything, including spiritually. If you can just learn that with the dedication of to only learn to sit and maintain the silence, defocus from everything, then there remains a journal focus. Is that true or not? You see, if you are following what I am saying, if your focus is intact to my words, you would realize what I am saying to you. If you defocus from everything around you for some time, if you defocus from every thought within, when there is a total silence, when there is a total silence, not only around you but within you, when the focus is withdrawn from the thoughts within and from the objects and people around, then what remains? Remember what I'm saying to you, please pay attention. What remains is a journal focus. You see, when you defocus from everything and from everywhere, what remains is the journal focus. This focus is the best focus that one can have. If you know what I'm saying to you, is the best focus one can have. When you defocus from everywhere, this focus is basically not, this focus is not in the focus of a certain direction. This focus is not intended to go in a certain dimension. And it is the best focus. When you withdraw your attention from everywhere and defocus, what still remains is a focus without any dimension, without any direction, without any faith or any human constructs. Just the journal focus. Absolutely inclusive everywhere. You see, just the journal focus. And that is the best focus. Once you achieve that state and maintain that focus for longer and longer period of time every day, then you have a total charge, then you have a total control on the focus. Then you can move it in any direction you want to focus. You see, most people do not have focus. I have told you, Sri Swami Vivekananda said, the difference between a brilliant person, the difference between a brilliant person and an average person is focus. You see, and a brilliant person has tremendous focus. The focus can only be achieved through Kriya meditation and yoga. Okay, when you defocus from everywhere, when your focus remains intact with everything in equally inclusive, everything equally. Not once you practice that every day to defocus from everywhere and have the journal focus, then you have more charge on focus. When you have more charge on focus, you can then you can move the focus in whatever direction you want, in whatever dimension you want, and then you would have tremendous focus. Then you would have tremendous focus, and then you can move that then you can move that focus in whatever that direction or whatever the dimension you want to move the focus. That is also a key of success, you see. So this is, as you know and you remember this bell, so this is the time for me to conduct a private meditation session. This is the time for me to conduct a private meditation session. But I have answered your inquiry. I have brought clarity in you and then some. You see, however, if you still have confusion, if you still have, if you are still perplexed, if you still have confusion for any reason, or you think that something is still confusing you, please feel free to write me. Okay, you can write me again, and I would try to clarify more and more. As I have mentioned to you, my services for mankind are free, and my services for mankind are always there. This is what I have signed up for, you know. This is what I have signed up for. Oh.